Welcome to Heroes Rising, hosted by Sifu Rafael, a master instructor, public speaker, and the founder of Speaking Prowess. Known for his expertise in empowering individuals through the art of communication and leadership. Alongside him is co-host Jose Escobar, an acclaimed personal development speaker, 18-time published author, and founder of 2 thriving businesses, including the Connected Leaders Academy. Together, they bring you dynamic conversations with world-class entrepreneurs, industry icons, and visionaries. Heroes Rising is your go-to source for wisdom, motivation, and unstoppable growth. Join us and discover the hero within you.
Happy Friday, Bethany. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Sifu?
Exceptional, getting better every day.
It does seem like a really good day, actually. It's beautiful.
It is. It is. It's a beautiful day. I mean, every day is a beautiful day. You know, we get a chance to do it again.
That's true. Every day is a new chance to always better yourself.
Yeah. And I'm super excited. Not only that, you said yes to being my co-host today, and I know Jose's in Jamaica. He's doing all these cool things. But we have 2 exceptional people joining us. Let's go ahead and bring them on. We have Anita and Robert. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Blessings to you all. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So today we're going to talk about the seeds of purpose and transformation. Wow. I mean, we could talk for days on this stuff. I'd like to go for either the seeds of purpose or transformation.
I love both of them.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I'll start. Let's talk about transformation. You know, I'm a big believer in constantly reevaluating and transforming myself. You know, I had really big goals, even as a young child, to accomplish certain things. And, you know, when you're young, you have these ideas of, I'm going to be doing this and I'm going to be doing that. And then as time goes on, life happens and things change. But what I have discovered over the decades is that you are allowed to transform and change. I mean, I've had many different careers. I've had a great corporate background in life. I became an entrepreneur about 13 years ago. That was another massive transformation, along with so many others. But I think even in the many worlds of transformations from, you know, I became a mother, and that was a very different transformation to even do. But even just the notion of allowing yourself, I think a lot of times you get stuck in the rut of, I've got to do what other people think, or I've got to follow a certain path. And by stopping and pausing and saying, you know what, I'm allowed to transform and be different. I get to be as unique as any other person, because there are billions of people on the planet, but there's only one of me. There's only one of you. And we're required to transform, I think, just the way caterpillars do to butterflies and become butterflies. I think it's our genetic right and requirement to transform. So that's my opening statement on that.
I love it.
I love so many things that you said too, because what Sifu introduced was seeds, and seeds, they grow and they evolve. And all you talked about is how you can change and just grow into something better and better, which is so beautiful.
And to piggyback on what Anita said, and you, Bethany, as well, is obviously seeds, like you said, begin with our mom and dad, and how they raise us, and what they train us in, and how they teach us, and what kind of foundation they give us, both physically, you know, emotionally, and even spiritually. So to borrow a phrase from the Bible, which I love to quote, is in Psalms 139, it says, before we were formed in our mother's womb, God already knew us, and our whole story was written. So we have this kind of prophetic destiny, this greatness to be, that we're called to. And of course, some people pursue that and some people don't pursue that, and that's fine. But in terms of transformation, are we teachable throughout our lives so we can keep growing and adding to the greatness of what we're called to be?
Yes, that's awesome.
I love the teachable part, and also, are we coachable?
Yes.
Right? Because I think all of us here are helping people along their journey. And I think for us to be able to help somebody else, we've had to go through some transformations ourselves in order for that to truly happen. Go ahead.
I say it's a joy to mentor people. I think all of us maybe here on this podcast are probably mentors to others because we've learned a lot and we have a lot to give. It's a pleasure for me and my wife. We get to mentor and shepherd, if you will, a lot of people, and they come to us for counsel and advice, and life's lessons and pivots and turns and twists and how do you handle this? What should I do? But we're helping them with their transformation. If they, like I say, if they're coachable, teachable, and have ears to hear, because they're looking for someone with experience to say, hey, you don't have to go that path, go this path. And so to me, that's a reward to get to see other people transform.
Love that.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I got to say, Anita, I apologize. I did not send you the memo that we're all wearing pink.
Yes, I realized that as I'm looking
Apparently.
I'm really sad that I didn't get the memo.
I apologize.
You just needed to be different, and that's okay.
It's my unique transformation. I get to be different today.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, it's a symbol of standing out.
Yeah, absolutely. When we also think of transformation, and then you also talked earlier, Anita, on how you're transforming, and sometimes it's because we have a purpose, and sometimes we don't even see the purpose in front of us, but we're transforming throughout, and we have this purpose it's inside of us. It's that seed that we have, yet sometimes we don't even know that everything that we're doing is going to lead us to what our true purpose is.
Agreed.
And sometimes it's other people see it in us. That's why mentorship is so important, because somebody else may see the brilliance that you have, the qualities you have, and because you're in the storm, you don't see it.
Right.
Let's talk about that if you guys can.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I actually do believe very much that we get signs from the universe or God or whatever, however you want to phrase it. But I do believe that signs come our way, whether it's the closing of one door, which may seem so difficult in the moment, whether it's you've lost your job or you've gone through a divorce or a death. But even those opportunities are often these amazing things if you can look past it to go, what is this supposed to teach me? What is the symbol that has come to me? And I think that sometimes you encounter people accidentally, you have moments, you happen to read a book where like a paragraph jumps out at you and we negate it. And we don't really take them seriously. But I think if we all just took that little bit more of awareness to say, if I have the premise or the belief, and I work hard on this one, that everything is coming for me, to benefit me. So all these symbols or all of these moments that come, good and bad, hard to say, but good or bad, if I can take them and say, I'm going to do something with it. And a lot of times we just close our eyes to it as opposed to opening our hearts and our eyes to those as symbols that it's meant for our greater good. I think we, again, need to just give ourselves permission to think the universe is really helping us. We have to see it that way, even the bad things.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Go ahead.
I would say there's a scripture in the Bible, to bring that back again, because that's kind of my core, is that says all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So he allows everything good and bad to happen. But like I said, it has to be a teaching moment. It has to be, what can I learn from it? You mentioned earlier, some of us walk around with horse blinders on because we're not keenly aware of what's going on around us, but we don't always see the layers of things that happen that build us up to this certain pivotal moment where we have that right to that best decision to make, which, door number one or door number two. It's like everything, diverges in one area and we have to make the right choice. And that can lead us into our best, God's best for our lives. So I look at those as great growing opportunities, and never take anything for granted, in the sense that I'm glad we have to have those trials and those testings to learn from. If we don't ever go through them, we're not going to come out on the other end sharper and clearer with our purpose, as we're talking about.
I love that. And Anita said something earlier too about, we have to evolve, kind of like how a caterpillar goes into a butterfly. But
Yes.
an interesting fact is when that caterpillar turns into that cocoon, they completely liquefy themselves. It is like if you were to open up that cocoon early on, be black goo inside. And they completely refigure themselves into something beautiful.
So
And
they're coming out of, let me jump in, coming out of sticky situations.
Totally. Yes.
Right.
But that is really what it looks like when we ourselves take on that transformation. When we come into what we need to be doing, it is us opening up out of that cocoon and really being able to thrive.
Yeah, and I think when you get stuck in your comfort zone, so you don't want to be in the sticky situation, or I mean, I really love that sticky goo, as you called it, but we don't. When we get into it, it's so much easier to just retort back to your comfort zone. But it's really the growth that happens in that sticky situation. It's not in your comfort zone when you were a caterpillar, and it's definitely not even when you're already the butterfly. It's in that moment. But the caterpillar and the butterfly only happens once. The beauty of being a human being and with a mind is we get to do this all the time. We get to either put ourselves into sticky situations, sticky goo, or it's placed upon us if we haven't done it. If we haven't gone out of our way, I think the universe and God puts us in those situations to go, I need you to transform and be different. I need you to have a different purpose. I need you to transform to be different. And I'm going to make you stay in this yucky life that you might be in until you figure that out. And I think those of us that do really are the ones that are making impacts. And I think everybody should be making an impact and can make an impact.
Absolutely.
Now, there is a reason why it's called the messy middle. Definitely.
My wife, Cheryl, always, and y'all have heard this phrase before, so she can't certainly claim it, but we always have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. We have to learn to be grounded in those uncomfortable moments, because that's where you find out your true grit. What are you made of? What's your, where are you? Like we've talked about being grounded. We don't allow, things outside that we can't control to phase us, because we can't control them anyway. So why emotionally wreck ourselves or fall into that pit or trap of, the victimhood or things that people do to go, it's not fair and all that kind of stuff. No, it's a part of the process. It's a part of it, and we have to embrace it.
I think sometimes people have to go through that sticky situation in order to learn how to fight themselves out of it, right? Because I'm sure in the cocoon, it's not all, sleepy time. It's something is building, something. Beauty comes from so many different areas, but even think of a seed has to go through dirt. It sees no light. But when the light shines, wow. But it's not just the light, it's the roots behind it that help push it up. So you're forming all these different things in order to sustain that life that plant has. And we are plants too. We're just sometimes our roots are very shallow. And so we have to dig deep for us to be strong enough to withstand that next trial. Because no matter what you do in life, nothing is always roses. It may look roses today, but tomorrow may not. But the thing is to have the attitude to, no matter when you're in the weeds, to still see the roses, because we need the weeds. How do we know if it's a sunny day if we never experience rain? So we need all those things.
Yeah. I love the story of the bamboo, right? I mean, I think it's like 5 or 7 years it's underground, and then literally in like 70 days, it can shoot up to 10 feet. I mean, I might be getting my numbers a little bit off, but it's literally that. I mean, it works so hard underground for so long. Now, I don't think we need to take 5 or 7 years to germinate, but it's this notion of a lot of that seed, as you were talking, Sifu, like we need to be okay with some of that period of time to really pop up and flourish, and appreciate the sun and that. But I that's what I think the power of why the bamboo is such an interesting plant, and its seed is so interesting.
I'm going to tell you about bamboo because I had some. And it wasn't like bamboo chopsticks. It was bamboo galore. And when I first bought my house many, many years ago, my next door neighbor ran over and they go, "How soon are you getting rid of the bamboo?" I'm like, "What bamboo?" The one on the side of the house. I went to the side of the house and there was bamboo growing. The person that I bought the house from planted a little bit of bamboo and the thing took over that yard and their yard. And they're like, "When are you getting?" I said, "If I get rid of it on my yard, it's going to come back from your yard. So it has to be, we have to do it together." And now I think there's a law that you cannot remove bamboo in Long Island.
Wow.
So or you need a special permit to do so. Thank God at the time I was able to do it. And so we coordinated and we got rid of the bamboo. But they said, yeah, we saw that they planted it and then all of a sudden it took over. And it was not easy to take down. I had a couple of different gardeners say they wouldn't do it because it was too much work. So interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And the reason why that bamboo grew was because it was in the most perfect environment. And I think that is the piece that we sometimes miss, because we can talk about a seed, but if you really want to talk about a seed, every single seed is covered with a coating called a testa. And that coating protects it. And it will only grow when it's under the most perfect circumstances. And, it has to have the right pH, water, sunshine, all those things. But then as soon as it gets activated, you have inside the seed, you have something called a cotyledon. It's the white part. And that creates the leaf and feeds it to grow. And if you really go into the anatomy of what a seed does and how it grows, it's so applicable to our lives, because if we're not nurturing the correct environment, if we're not nurturing all of the things for it to grow, we're just going to be that seed that's sitting there. We're not going to grow because we don't have the right things to break through that.
I just want to tell everybody listening right now, whether you listen to this later on but you hear those noises, that's because Bethany has all these incredible creatures in her house. She has chickens. She has all
Got a
these.
zoo.
She does basically. Tell us a little bit about why you do this. Tell us. Thank you.
Those are actually, so my son is serving a mission for my church. And so I moved my office into his room so that his birds would have somebody. And I've decided that I do love the sounds of nature. So I'm okay with it. But I do. I have a lot of chickens and I have some animals and I have dogs and cat, and have a friend that has some goats that I get goat milk from, and we make cheese together. And when you live in an environment where you grow up with so many beautiful things that God has put on the earth, like you just have such an appreciation for all of it. I grow a big garden. I just love it. But our seasons are very small because I'm in Idaho. So we have like 9 months of winter. So you got to just love it while you can.
You can come to Florida anytime you want and enjoy the sun. I'm in Florida.
Well, actually, it's interesting that Sifu, you made a point earlier about how, to appreciate the sun, we need rain. You know, and I live in Canada. I live in Toronto, and you know, we have all seasons. And as much as it drives me crazy to have winter and the cold, and I don't love it, I do appreciate all the seasons because of it. I appreciate when it snows, but then I appreciate when it's nice and sunny, and I get to, you know, I walk my dog down by the beach, and in the winter and in the summer, and it feels so different. But you are, you know, Bethany, to your point of being in nature, you really appreciate things differently when you have different seasons or different times in your life, like to the sun and the rain and the cold and the warmth.
You need all of it. You need it all.
I love when somebody goes, oh, it's a terrible day. Look outside. Look at the weather. I'm like, no, it's a beautiful day. You're alive.
That's right.
God gave you another day.
That's right.
Take it. And you know what? It may be cloudy where you are right now, but just know it's sunny somewhere else. Right? It's that old saying that people say the reason that they drink at a certain time, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. But I rather say it's sunny somewhere.
Live with optimism. I've always cup half full. Always. Have to live that way. You have to live with hope.
Well, a lot of people say, well, why do we have to have a cup that's half full and a cup half empty? Why can't we fill it?
True. Live a full life. Yes.
Just be grateful you have a cup sometimes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But sometimes you have to empty it because you may want to fill it with something else.
I love it. It's true.
Good point.
I think that's one of the things in the transformation. You know, it's back to the whole gut thing and reliving and transforming our life. You know, one of the exercises, I don't even remember where I got this from, but obviously some brilliant person put it in a book or somewhere. But one of the things that I read somewhere to do is write down 100 amazing things about you that you've accomplished. And I thought that was great. So, I mean, it can feel overwhelming because you might get to like, you know, 20 or 30. But, you know, when I coach and mentor and train other people, one of the things I say is like, start from 0 to 5, you know, 5 to 10, your teenage, and just kind of go until whatever decade you're in now. But even from 0 to 5, you can come up with over 100 things just in that little area. The fact that, you know, you actually existed, you know, you were born in your mom's womb, you came out, you actually got delivered, you know, all the way from learning to walk and feed yourself and, you know, all of those amazing things that we do. But then sometimes I think when we get older, you almost forget all the things you've accomplished, especially as you think you do get older and you feel like you are in the guck and this is not, or life is really hard and you're not seeing the sunshine. You're seeing the glass half full. And it, one of the things when I coach, mentor people who are feeling really dissuaded with their life, they're feeling very, you know, like it's very difficult in that moment to live in gratitude. That's where we all should be all the time, but sometimes it's hard to do. But I get people to do this exercise of write 100 things down and then go back and pick up the top 10 things that you're really, really, really proud of. That just when you look at it, it just makes your heart swell, and put it on your wall. So when you are feeling, you know, you look at it, you know, for me being a mother of my 2 beautiful children, adult children now, and got them to adulthood, like that they're amazing children. That gives me so much pride to be their mother. So like, that's one of my things. Also getting my black belt in Taekwondo when I was about 40, which was, I found really challenging to do that. But I find that there are a few things that in my life that I've done and that I remind myself, because it was a long time ago, but I remind myself, and I coach people all the time. So, you know Sifu always says, take notes on this podcast, write things down. If you get nothing else from me today, I'm going to challenge you, take time on this weekend, write out your 100 and put your top 10 things right in front of you in your office, on your phone, in your car. Like, I don't care where you do it, but keep it front of mind always, because you did that. No one else did it. You did it.
I
That
love
reminds
that.
me.
Go ahead, Robert.
I was going to say that just reminded me, Anita, of a challenge we were given in a group we were a part of many years ago. They, like 4 years ago, they said, we want you to go home and take a few days and write your life story and bring it back and share it with everybody. So in that life story, the things you mentioned, we were able to unpack, we did it in 5-year segments, 0 to 5, of course, it's just birthday parties and playing around. But, as you grow through the time, we got this, we had to share some of life's hardest experiences, your celebration of great things, and, the trips you took, and then the people that impacted your life the most, your grandparents and things like that, aunts and uncles. And it was fun. Some people agonized over it because of some of the experiences they had that were not the greatest, but they endured through it. My wife grew up in a home of, she would never lived in a home. She always lived in a hotel and, in different places. And so that was, again, different from some of us. So her story is, of course, more challenging than others might be. So, but it was all a learning experience to hear where people went from point A. You talk about transformation, where they started here, and all of a sudden they've climbed the ladder up here, and you have to just say, wow, for the grace of God go I. I mean, that was amazing to hear the different stories. But again, through that, they were able to say, hey, here's my highlights. Here's what I achieved despite what I went through. And so that's what makes you stronger. So it was a fun time with that.
I have a couple of thoughts, and I'm loving this conversation. I can tell you hundreds of things that I did from the minute I woke up this morning.
Yeah.
Because of the gratitude. So when people have a hard time figuring out, what am I great at? I was great at waking up. God gave me a gift. Right? Then I got out of bed. That's another miracle. I was able to walk. That's a miracle. I'm breathing. That's a miracle. So all of these different things are miracles, but we take them for granted. And we don't, a lot of us pray, but we don't pray in a way that we're thankful.
Yeah.
So many people pray because they're in need of something. Mm-hmm. And I know, because when I go to church, I see that at certain times, church is more packed. Why? It's a holiday. It's an event. It's a this, it's a that. And when people are doing really well, they stop praying. They only pray when things are needed.
Yeah.
And then when you talked about your wife, and she grew up in a hotel, and I'm going to tell you a funny thing is, all the kids I teach, I ask them where they live. And they're supposed to give me their address and so forth. And I go, who lives in a house? And they all raise their hand. I go, no, you don't. I said, you all live in a hotel. They're like, what? I don't live in a hotel. I said, yes, you do. Then they give me these faces, and I go, I'm going to tell you why you live in a hotel. Why? Because you have laundry service, you have maid service, you have chefs, you have all these things. So you all live in a hotel. Don't take it for granted. Be grateful for your moms. Be grateful for your dads. Because if we can teach children to be grateful for the littlest things, they will never have issues when somebody tells me, tell me what you're grateful for. So this is why I do, and the way I teach people is to look at the tiniest little things, right? A lot of people will say, oh, it's a bug, kill it. I'm like, maybe I can walk it outside. Why are you doing that? Well, it wasn't bugging me. And a lot of times I'll see a kid like try to kill a bug that's trying to step on it. I'm like, why are you being the bug? You're bugging the bug. Stop bugging the bug. They're like, what? I said, now you're the bug. And so I make fun of it, but I also try to teach them something, that bug was not bugging you, but now you think you need to destroy it. So let's reconsider our thoughts and our actions. So I try to teach wherever I am.
Yeah.
I love that.
Everything.
When you're trying to teach, especially when you're teaching children and things like that, and teenagers and all of them, whenever you're trying to teach, it's interesting because everything has to be so relatable. Because when you are able to, like, well, just with the books that Robert writes, their stories, and with Sifu, when you're talking to them, you're bringing in, yes. And when you're bringing in, like, no, you live in a hotel, those are called social stories. And
Yep.
we learn through story. We learn how to be better because of stories. And that's when we're actually able to really apply that to our lives and able to move forward. And I think that that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. So you talked about Robert's books.
Yep.
He was on Author's Tales, and we went over this book. And then the following book is this one, right? And
Yes.
then we're going to come back and we're going to jump onto this book, Cain, The Rise of Cain. I got to tell you, I'm now on the fourth one. And then he's got two more here. And wow, I got to tell you, I am just enjoying the series. And it makes you really think about life in a certain way. And Robert, if you can quickly share a little bit about your
Sure.
books. And
Sure.
you wrote this with your partner, Reverend Samuel David, and obviously,
Yes.
in case nobody picked up, you're also a pastor.
Yes. Well, again, thank you for that opportunity to share. So yeah, it is an exciting journey we've taken. This gentleman, Reverend David, began the book series before I met him. Wrote the first few, and then I came aboard because he needed an editor and someone to, it's always good to have another set of eyes on anything you do. So we collaborated to work together, and starting in 2020, we kind of relaunched everything. But the whole purpose of the series is to explain what's going to happen in the end times, the end of the world, which will happen, in the book of Daniel, the book of Revelations, and some parts from the book of Enoch, where Jesus will return one day, and the world's going to have a reckoning. Those who are not born again believers, Christians, are going to have to make a decision: do I follow the enemy or do I follow him? And so we have this. The story is pivoted on that. This doesn't begin until the two witnesses, God's two witnesses, show up, and those are Enoch and Elijah, the only two men in this earth who've never tasted death. So they will come and they will bring the message of hope to Enoch to the world, and Elijah, the prophet Elijah, to the Jewish nation. So to that they recognize Jesus as Messiah. So yes, and it's just written as if it happens today. It's written in Tom Clancy style, a lot of action, a lot of directness of what's happening. And we have not to get too deep here, but the 200 fallen, the 200 watchers who were mentioned in the book of Enoch, who came to earth during the time of Jared, when Enoch was alive, and they wreaked havoc on earth. That's why God had to bring the flood, because mankind turned evil, and very evil, and kind of similar today almost, how we're really getting off what God wants is best for us. But anyway, so it's just a story to let people know the reality of what's to come. It's a fiction, but yet based on true facts and stories. So we'll call it that. But it's a labor of love, but it's been well received, and people are enjoying seeing the dialogue and having great dialogue with their friends and family. Hey, what do I got to do? What decisions do I need to make to guarantee my future in heaven? So it's good food for thought.
Oh my gosh, I got to tell you, I'm reading God's Trumpet, and I had my car was being serviced, and I was taking care of the end, and I put the book on the counter, and the guy goes, "Excuse me? Could I look at that book? Could I look at that book?"
Yeah.
And then so all of a sudden we got into a conversation, and he got to connect with me, and now he's following me on my YouTube. I said, you gotta go check out the first one we did on Enoch. And all of a sudden you got to pick up all the books. Here's where you go, and the whole deal, because he said, wow, intriguing. And I said, wait till you see the show. And anybody, we're going to be doing this book next, so make sure you come. That was a little plug, of course, but I want to just let everybody know that when we meet people, right, that's where sometimes the seed, and you talked about this, Anita, the seeds of purpose can really start to take transformation because it's the people that you connect with that can impact your life in ways you never, ever imagined.
Right. Mhm.
Bethany was just, she came and she shared her knowledge on my Sifu's mind body method, and everybody was blown away. Everybody was blown away. And just, she's got, look, when she talked about a seed, she told you the little intricacies about a seed. Did you know that about a seed before today? I didn't. She just shared some knowledge with us. So it's when we associate ourselves with the right people, our purpose becomes that much more clear.
Agreed. Yep. Mhm.
Thank you,
So with
Sifu.
that,
That was very kind.
well, with that, I'm going to do two things, right? One is I'm going to share the video for my show, and then eventually I'm going to show because Jose is also a sponsor on this episode. So take a look at this first. You followed the rules, tried the restrictions, counted the carbs, the steps, and the failures. You're not lazy, you're exhausted from doing it all without real change. What if the problem isn't you, but the plan? Sifu's Mind Body Method is a 90-day transformation built on 7 unshakable pillars: mindset, movement, nutrition, hydration, fasting, journaling, and faith. This isn't another shortcut. It's your structure, your strength, your reset. You don't need harder, you need better. Ready to begin? Start today. I believe that so many people take care of the things that are not as important as themselves. I think we need to take care of us. And this is, I think, why I'm enjoying this conversation, because transformation, purpose, it all goes together.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll share. My wife is I've been on vacation. Sure, not that I'm complaining about it, but she has forced me to take a cruise starting tomorrow. And she's like, "You're gonna unplug. You're not allowed to bring your computer. Your phone's gonna be off the entire time, okay? And you're gonna come with me and swim and all that kind of stuff." I said, "Yes, ma'am." So, we need that reset though, because we need to just let things kind of clean out. I mean, I run, a financial investment firm as well, and among other things as well. And, working 10, 12-hour days, it does kind of wear you out a little bit. Like you said, I'm only getting younger at 56, but in my mind, but my body is saying time out. So, so I appreciate her, she's sowing into me seeds of restoration, time to restore a little bit. So I appreciate Cheryl for doing that for me and making me go.
We appreciate Cheryl too.
Yeah.
It's only going to make
That's
you
awesome.
better.
Well, I think it's also an interesting perspective that we sometimes get into, that, we don't have enough time. We just don't have enough time for everything. We just can't do this. And I actually just sat down with my daughter yesterday because we talked about how our lives are scales. And if we're not level, here's the story, because this is how you teach, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're not level and one side is higher than the other,
Yep.
you just feel out of whack, like you're just going to slide off. And if you slide off that scale, then it's really hard to get back on.
Right.
And so I told her, I said, I want you to think throughout the whole day, this was in the morning, what are the goals that you want to have in your life? And she goes, okay. She's 12. So we sat down last night and I said, did you think about it? And she gets out her little journal and we sit there and she goes, yes, I thought about it. I want to get better at violin. I want to, get better at dancing, because these are all things that are really important to a 12-year-old. And
Yep.
I want to be able to read my scriptures and say my prayers more, because that's, God is really important in our home.
Absolutely.
And I was like, okay. And she goes, I just don't know how to do it. I just don't know. I said, okay, what we need to do. I said, you have so much time. She goes, I don't have time like you do. And We had a very first lesson on what mornings should look like. Every day you wake up, let's schedule that out. And look, you have 10 minutes right there. That's enough time to read some scriptures and say a prayer. Look, that is off your list. And then look, here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Every single day is a little bit different, but you're able to put all the things in that you want to if it's important enough for you. And it's not that we don't have enough time. It's just that we didn't make it a priority or it wasn't important enough.
Right.
And
Time
he was
management.
really impressed. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't cut you off. I apologize.
No, you're great. No, but she was just like, oh, okay. And so this morning she was like on top of it. I mean, she was just like 6:30 family scripture study. She is out there. We are doing it. And she goes, I have to hurry. I only have like 3 more minutes to do my hair. And I'm like, you're right. And so it's like, creating that. But she's 12 and we still have to do this as adults. It's not something that stops. This is something we always have to do.
What a great life lesson for your daughter.
Yep.
If she can carry that lesson for the rest of her life, wow. She's going to have to be on our show.
Yeah.
She's pretty cool.
I know she's pretty cool. She's your daughter. Hello.
So here in Canada, we start school after Labor Day. So we have the whole summer, and then we start school on the Tuesday of Labor Day. So forever, I mean, for so long, I can think about every Labor Day weekend, I would get my 2 kids to say what they wanted, what were their goals for the school year. So pretty much September to September. And they like huff and puff, and they're like, oh, we don't want to do this, and this is silly. And yet, I'm like, the impact that it makes on you. You guys have accomplished this every year. And they get so annoyed because, they're kids. And then literally 2 minutes into doing it, they're like really thinking about it. And, they're pondering it. And then we write them all down and they're like, that was good. I'm like, right? That was good. But what's even better is that the following year in September, when we look back, I'm like, because you actually thought about it, because you actually wrote them down, you actually accomplished every single one of them. And they've been doing this for years. My son is now graduated and he's working. So we kind of moved it to January. But my daughter's in 3rd year university and we did it again just in September. And I'm like, because it stays front of mind. You have a purpose of what you're working towards for the school year. You're not just, and she goes, well, to do well. I'm like, no, that's just your job description. I'm sorry. School is just your job description right now, is to do well. I'm talking about beyond that. What do you really want to get to do? And I do believe that it's such a great life goal, Bethany, that you've started at such an early age to do that, to have your daughter think that way. I've seen such an impact on my children in the last 10 years. We've been doing this, 8 years, I guess. For them in their school years, they've had some really good years thinking outside of the box. So then they know in September they've got to come back and do this. But it's also helped me with my goals when I sit and do my own by having conversations with them. And we focus on like the different areas of life. So we always have to write down a health goal. And then we write down a social goal. And then we talk, sort of social relationships, your family, friends. We write down a goal around money and finances and things that they want to do with some of the jobs, the summer jobs they've had and the money they've got. So we talk about the different areas of their life. You need to have one goal for each of the different areas of your life. So you're not imbalanced, to your point on being on that scale.
I know.
I love that.
We'll be imbalanced.
You know what? Go ahead. I'm noticing that the birds in Bethany's space right now are just getting smarter. They got quiet. They're listening.
Yeah.
And anybody else who's listening to this, taking notes, writing it down, planning for your future, not in the future, but today, right? Think about that. Because who's the driver to your future? You have to. You can't let others interject their ideas because you will never take it on. It has to be your own idea. Just like in sales, nobody wants to be sold, but they want to buy. And just ask anybody who's an Amazon buyer. They want to buy. Right?
I know someone.
I think, go ahead, Robert.
No, I was
gonna
just
say something. Go ahead.
just to piggyback on both what you all three said is when I was 13, my father, who used to be a superintendent of schools, came to me and says, "You're going to start writing goals now," and he says you're going to have 2 spiritual, 2 physical, 2 relational, and then just pick any other ones. And I've been doing it every year since then. I do it always the last week of December. And I've gotten, we have 6 kids and 13 grandkids. We've got some of them to do it. Some won't do it, but we've gotten those to do it to give them structure and to achieve. It gives you that motivation to achieve. And you quickly tell the personalities who want to do that and you say, I don't care, but we still make them write them down. But I still do it to this day. And I have found that I end up meeting, 80% or more of those goals every year. And it's a personal reward to me to say, okay, your discipline, the way you live your life is warranted because you are trying to set yourself up for success with those goals. So I applaud every family out there who does it. If you're not, please do it. Make it fun for the kids. My dad would reward me with an ice cream cone or something simple. But the fact is, he said, hey, if you achieve this, because I played sports throughout school, then I'm going to do something to bless you back. And for me, I was all in on that. So kudos to you for y'all both to do it for doing that. So
Thank you. There's a piece that I didn't say, but I guess I'll say it now. So after she chose my goals, or her goals, not my goals, but I always make sure that they understand what self-discipline looks like. And I think that this is a piece that we forget to teach because there is something called a self-discipline triangle. And I have been an educator for 23 years in school systems teaching children. And I would teach them this way so that they could create that intrinsic motivation. But it's always, I would ask her these questions. Well, what's your goal? And why do you want to do it? So my goal, my why is, I really want to be better at violin. Well, why? That's your second part of your triangle. Why? Well, because I love the way it sounds. And I really want to be like Lindsay Sterling and dance and play violin. That's her why, right? Like, great. And then the last part of that triangle is the piece that everyone falls apart on. That is your accountability piece. A lot of people can have your what and, how, or your why, and then they miss that accountability piece. That accountability piece is how you develop that self-discipline. And so that's the other question. I'm like, well, you've put it here on your time. How are you going to make sure that you do it all the time? And she's like, well, I guess I could do a sticker chart. And I'm like, that sounds great. Whatever you want to do. But we need to do that to ourselves too, because so often we'll teach and we'll teach, but do we practice what we preach? It's one of those things where I'll tell my kids that they need to clean their rooms. And then I'm like, ooh, I have stuff on that couch I should probably put away. We do these things, but why? We need to also practice what we're preaching.
I love that. I love that triangle. Totally going to steal that and use it. I'll give you credit.
You can use that as much as you want, because that is how self-discipline and intrinsic motivation is created in every aspect. The accountability piece is the foundation.
Yeah, I love that. I have to give it a shout out to a book. I'm rereading it now, I think for the second or third time. It's James Clear's book on atomic habits.
Oh, yeah. I have it on my night table.
Yeah, I'm just rereading it again. I really love the book. I mean, I just think that it's a phenomenal book of habits. It has so many different tips around, really just to your point of accountability. How do you create some of these habit stacking things? And I found the first time I read it, some of the things that I found really easy to do is, when I'm brushing my teeth, I'm actually looking myself. Well, most of us are looking ourselves in the mirror when you're brushing your teeth. You're in the bathroom already. And even though it sounds weird because your mouth is kind of full with your toothbrush, but I found that because I was looking at myself, I started to habit stack at that same moment of looking into my eyes and just sort of mouthing weirdly, but mouthing, the things I was grateful for, or things I was proud of myself for, or you're an amazing person, Anita, and you're going to have a great day. And just like I'm already doing something I have a habit of doing, which is brushing my teeth. But if I added one more thing in that time frame that was really helpful, I just found, so I started to notice that wherever I could, I would habit stack 2 or 3 different things in that same moment. And it's helped me so much with, to your point of hitting some of those goals in a way that I've really not, I don't think I was as efficient, even from a timing standpoint of saying I'm too busy. But there are so many pockets in your day where you have 5 minutes. You have even standing in front of the microwave while it goes for 39 seconds to heat up something. That's 39 seconds. You could do something. Even just,
I always tell my kids that's the race to see how much of the dishwasher you can unload. Ready, set, go.
There you go.
Correct. And not break anything.
Yeah.
You're speaking words of affirmation on yourself. You're speaking life to yourself when you're doing those things in front of the mirror. That's what we want to continue to build yourself up. Yes.
I love that we're actually talking about this right before this call. I have a little podcast on my YouTube channel, and I recorded my podcast, and it is actually habit stacking. That's what my podcast was about.
Woo!
So I know. I was like, I cannot believe she's talking about this. And I just went, when you're talking, I went through my notes because I actually talked about different ways that I habit stack all the time. Because I record a YouTube shorts in the sauna called Hot Takes Mindset from the Sauna. Thought it was very clever. And I do that after I'm working out. I also teach ballroom dance. And when I'm running on the treadmill, I listen to music and I choreograph in my mind what I'm going to teach. I mean, there's so many times when we can do these things. We'd rather have numbing things, but the way that we look at our lives when we fill them with things that actually fulfill us, I mean, it's that we can fill our cup however we want, And I would rather drink something clear and amazing that's going to be better for me than something murky and yucky and not. So I want to make sure I'm filling it with good things.
I got to tell you, way before I read the book, I understood habits at a deep level because I'm a people watcher. I love watching people, and I see how people maybe repeat the same thing and they don't recognize they're doing it. So how many people here have ever driven somewhere and they're like, I don't remember getting here. Right? And that's because it became a habit. But so now, and I learned that very, very young on. And then I realized that, hey, wait a minute. Yesterday, I put on my left shoe first. Today, I'm going to do my right. So I'm aware of everything I do, so it does not become a habit. And if it becomes a habit, then I'm going to use it to build me better. And so I'll recognize, oh, I'm doing a habit, but I'm not letting the habit control me. And so I kind of call myself a little bit of a habit master because I don't allow that to control my movements, but I allow it to, to stack it in a positive way. And I teach that even when I tell the kids, when you're brushing your teeth, you should be in a squat position. We call it horse stance. They're like, how long are you supposed to brush your teeth for? 2 minutes. I said, there you go. Now you can work your legs, your strength, build stamina, and brush your teeth at the same time.
And say words of affirmation in the mirror to yourself while you're doing it all.
That's it. You just need a longer mirror, right?
All of it. Do all of it.
Do all of it.
But if we think about all the habits that we can have an impact on our lives, because they're good habits and we know they're bad habits. And Bethany, you talked about having something clear instead of murky and yucky, but some people consider that murky and yucky good, like a soda. And so many people don't understand that the impact of sugar can truly, truly diminish the life that you can have. And what bothers me the most is what's happening with people are going through transformations because they're not happy with their life. and they're doing it with a quick fix. They're doing it with all these drugs, with Ozempic and other ones that are following suit. And they don't understand the harm that they're doing to their body, because that drug was never meant for weight loss. It's an after effect, but it also reduces bone density and so many different problems that can happen. When people come off it, what happens when you lose bone density?
Yep.
Osteoporosis, right? That's one of the problems.
Yeah.
And so there's so much that we're not looking at. And because we're trying to appease others, sometimes we do the wrong things. So when you're looking at the seeds of your life, of what you're planting today so that you can grow tomorrow, because if you think you're done, then you're right, you are. You're done. You stop growing. You're going to sit on the couch, you're going to do nothing. And a lot of people retire because they have a pension and that's it. I'm done. I worked my life. But for me, retirement will never come. Right? Retirement means I'm tired again. I'm not tired. I've got energy, kids.
That's right.
Don't retire. I want to share one thing, and I'm sorry I went on a rampage there, but I want to share. Jose Escobar has an incredible platform. Take a look.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JAESCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Bethany, you're part of Connected Leaders Academy, right?
I am.
I know we need Robert and we need Anita to come join us. So Robert, Anita, let's have a conversation. I'll send you guys
It
an
is
email and
amazing.
I'll connect you with Jose. It's going to be a blast. I got to tell you.
I made some notes.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you.
I got to tell you, because of Connected Leaders Academy, that's how I met Bethany. And sometimes when we're in the right place, we meet the right people. Robert and I, we met one way. Anita and I, we met another way. But I'm so happy that you've been on my show multiple times, and I don't want you to stop that habit. The habit should be, when can I get on Sifu's show? Just saying.
Yep.
Love that.
Honored.
Yes, definitely
Love
honored
that.
to be on your show many times. So thank you.
Yeah. What's one thing that you would want somebody to take away from today's show based on purpose and transformation?
I actually was thinking about this while our thing was going on, while the Connected Leaders Academy thing was going on, but I presented at a conference and the topic was engaging the unengageable. And I think that if people are watching this and they feel like they're having a hard time being engaged, they need to re-listen to this because their lives are out of whack. Just like things that Anita was saying, you need to start caring for yourself. You need to start building yourself. And you need to start someplace, and just any movement is better than stagnation.
Love that.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that and say there is no value in living in your comfort zone at all. Get yourself either in the muck, or if you're in that muck, appreciate it, because this is where you're going to grow. And being in that comfort zone, being complacent, there's a difference between being content with your life and being complacent in your life. And I think the problem is a lot of people think they intertwine those words, but I think that that's just in your comfort zone. You could be very content in your life for sure, and that's amazing. But that doesn't mean that you're complacent. It means you're still growing. But those that are complacent are living in their comfort zone. They're not transforming. They're not living of their purpose. And take the initiative after you've heard this call to say, am I complacent or am I content? And how do I get outside of my comfort zone and live in the muck for a little while?
Love that.
And to compliment all three of you, I mean, we are a garden. And so we have to be poured into. We have to allow people to come and tend our garden by pulling out things of us that are not healthy so that we can grow. We have to be open to grow, subject to grow, and willing to grow, but allow everyone around us to be those teachers and be the mentors that we all need to, so that we can, again, pass that on to the next generation and those around us who are searching for truth, searching for connection, and wanting to become like what we've done and duplicate. So be a duplicator, but then be able to grow at the same time. So I just appreciate the conversation we've had today. I think it's been very useful for me as well. So, and hopefully those around listening.
Absolutely. I think that ditto for all three of you. That's it. I'm done. I'm kidding. But so well said. One of the things that keeps popping in my head is that I think that sometimes for us to help someone else transform, we have to show them the way. And I've seen so many coaches and trainers and all this, and they're telling people, but they're not showing. So I am that trainer that I will get in the trenches with you and I will show you how to do it. I will do it with you. And a lot of people go, oh, no. I tell them what to do. And I'm like, how many people do you have following you? How many people really stick around you when you're just telling them, not showing them? And I believe in showing is a great way to inspire someone to go through their own transformation, because I can do it for me, but I can't do it for you. I can never do it for you. And so it takes, and we've all heard this before, it takes a village to help grow a child. And it takes a village to continue to grow an adult. We think it's only for children, but it's actually for us. For me, I need a village. Robert, you need a village. Anita, you need a village.
Yep.
Bethany, you need a village. Listener, viewer, whether you watch this now or later on, you need a village. So connect with people. Don't do it by yourself. And that's what transformation happens. It's not a lonely thing. You're really not a seed by yourself. You're a seed in a garden. There's other seeds that are going to be there. Some will block the sun from you. Some will move so that you can see the sun. So be part of it. And if you're interested, I did put a QR code there. We're having an experience, New York City experience, December 6th and 7th here in New York. And I know that Robert wants to be here with us. I know that Anita wants to be with us. And I know that Bethany wants to be here with us. So I will send you all information on that.
Amazing.
Do yourself a favor. Connect with people. Go hug your children, hug your parents, hug your neighbors, even if they're strange. At least say hi to them. That's what I think that we need to do. For us to transform, sometimes we need to help others transform, because that's transformation for us. That's my thought. I'm going to leave it there. Go ahead.
Thank you.
So at this point, we did go a little bit over because sometimes I talk. And what I love to get is everybody to, at one point or another, you're going to tell us how anybody can connect with you. Anita, we're going to let you go first. And please share what somebody can expect when they connect with you. And your information is going at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. Well, I help people with transitioning from employed entrepreneur. That's my website. There's a link there to book time with me. I'd love that. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I have a YouTube channel, LinkedIn, any which way you'd like to. One of the things that I love doing is on Fridays, I have something called Friday Anita Talk. It was a play on my name. I used to be called Anita, with a D as sound instead of a T sound. And so I play on it and say Anita Talk, and I just take 5 minutes on my platforms to just share some thoughts and ideas. And I would love for you to follow me and connect and just reach out and let's chat. I'd love to just connect.
Love it. Love it. Yes. I need a chat with you also. Love it. Robert, would you mind going?
Well, again, it's an honor to be on this panel and just share our thoughts and our diverse backgrounds and feed it all to help grow those listening. You can reach me at witnesspartners@gmail.com. Besides being an author and a husband and a father and a grandfather and an investment advisor and many other things, and a pastor, at the end of the day, it's all about people. So, if we're here to help and be a blessing to anyone who has a question, wants to reach out, but we just declare God's favor over everyone's life as they move forward.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Bethany.
Thank you, Sifu, for having me co-host with you. You can reach me. What I do, actually, first I need to say what I do. So I teach self-care. I teach 5 areas of self-care. And within those areas of self-care are about 52 life skills. And I teach life skills through self-care so that you can really thrive in your life, because sometimes life is tricky and you need some help. And so that's what I do. And you can reach me. You can go to my website, thrivingbynature.com. You can book a free call with me there. I'm on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. And I just opened a TikTok account and I have 1 video. So that was a big deal for me because I was anti-TikTok. So that's happening still. But I do these fun things, and they're called Hot Takes Mindset in the Sauna, and they're just little tiny short videos. So if you just want a little thought every morning, that's where you'll find it.
And my camera decided to shut down, so I'm going to put it back on. There I am. What? Maybe it was a moment of peace. Yes. I don't know. I'm Sifu Rafael. What can I say? I am thrilled that I was able to share this moment with the 3 of you. You're beautiful souls. Happy to know you. And anybody who's listening, please do share this episode. Share this with somebody who may need to hear it. Maybe it's a loved one. Maybe it's a child. Maybe it's your partner. Or maybe you need to see it again, because I know I'm going to watch it again. So many golden nuggets on here. And for me, it's easy. SifuRafael.com. And there you'll find all kinds of different things. I have a communication school. I do all things Sifu's Mind Body Method. And then the thing that you see on the QR code up on the screen is that we do events to connect incredible leaders like the ones you see here in person. So thank you, everybody. God bless you. And do yourself a favor. Enjoy the rest of this incredible and beautiful day. Take care, everybody.
Yes.